Beyond boundaries. That is today's TEDx event. And by just standing here, I've suddenly realized that I've actually stepped beyond two of my own boundaries. This is my first TED event, whether TED or TEDx. Up until now, I've steadfast sort of refused or declined any invitations for various reasons. So that was one boundary. The second one, which perhaps not as interesting, I've never used one of these contraptions that I've got stuck on my face right now. I'm one of those old school public speakers. I'm used to a podium, I'm used to a mic, I'm used to the security of having something in front of me. I'll start with an Urdu couplet. Faiz Ahmad Faiz said, "Chale chalo कि वो मंजिल अभी नहीं आई कि जहां कोई सरहद ना कोई दीवार हो." Again, talking about boundaries and how we are yet to move to a world where those boundaries, those lines, those borders don't exist. We all face boundaries. Some of them for our own good, many of them not. We have the boundaries imposed on us by geography. We have the boundaries imposed on us by borders between countries. We have the boundaries imposed on us by laws which are essentially designed to protect us. But then there are a number of boundaries that exist around us that come into existence because of the stereotypes that we follow, or by the experiences that we have. When I talk about the boundaries of stereotyping, how many of us have heard things like, "Oh, you can't play football, football is not for girls." Or stereotypes like, "Boys don't cry." Why don't boys cry? Why shouldn't boys cry? Boys are allowed to express their emotions, their feelings. When babies come out, whether boys or girls, they cry. So these sort of gender stereotype boundaries that are imposed on us are artificially designed to pigeonhole us, to close us off, to stop us from thinking. How many of us have been lucky enough to have teachers who have not stopped us from asking questions? Otherwise, how many of us have had the experience of being in a class where you've asked one question, two questions, three questions, and then the teacher has turned around and said, "You ask too many questions. Don't ask so many questions. Just read what's in the textbook." And suddenly in your mind, you start believing that asking questions is the wrong thing to do, that seeking more information is wrong. And again, a self-imposed boundary comes around us where we only learn what is put in front of us and not beyond that. How many boundaries do we create out of our self-created insecurities? I'm not intelligent enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not fit enough. I'm not thin enough. So many of these boundaries that exist around us that seek to hold us back, and those boundaries are simply the creation of our own thought process. As the first speaker, Madam Usha Meni, said, boundaries of the mind are perhaps the most difficult boundaries to get beyond. We all face them. I mean, something that she said struck true for me when she talked about how when she first wanted to be a public speaker, how her teacher gave her a piece of paper and said, "When your knees stop shaking, when your hands stop trembling, when there's no longer a quiver in your voice, then come back to me." And I was thinking to her, if her teacher put those boundaries in front of me, I wouldn't be able to speak to you today. Because every time I stand up on stage to speak, believe me, my knees shake. Even now, They're hidden behind my trousers, but there's a slight quiver in my knees as I talk to you now. There's a little bit of a shake in my hands, and I've been doing this for 25 years. So boundaries are there, but boundaries are there for us to go beyond. Boundaries are there for us to move beyond. If this world had been governed purely by its boundaries, where would we be today? How much of this world would we actually know? Which of our explorers would go beyond their own hometowns to distant lands? How much of this world would we not have discovered? How much of this universe would we not have known about? How many of the heights of this world would have been left unscaled? Ultimately, what was to be gained by climbing Mount Everest? Other than the fact that it was the highest mountain in the world, it posed a boundary, and that boundary was there to be defeated. What was to be gained by going to the North Pole or the South Pole? But they were boundaries, and those boundaries were there to be defeated. Speaking to an audience of students, I can only appeal to you that don't allow these boundaries to determine who you are. Don't allow these boundaries to set goals for you. Don't allow these boundaries to stop you from aiming high. Because that is what you were born to do. You weren't born to fit in. You weren't born to be the same as everybody else. You were born to stand out. You were born to carve your own place. You were born to set your own goals and to reach them. And therefore, speak up. Speak out. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Even if the person you're asking those questions to rolls their eyes in frustration, that is their boundary, not yours. It is for you to seek the knowledge that you want, to get the information that you want, to go beyond the boundaries that are placed in front of you. Let nobody tell you that your gender will determine what you do. Let nobody tell you that your background will determine who you are. Let nobody tell you how you look will determine what place you are able to occupy in this world. Because these are all artificially created boundaries that have no bearing on who you actually are. Who you are is in your head. Who you are is in your heart. Who you are is in your feelings, your emotions. And it is for nobody to set boundaries on those. And therefore, if as a result of this one day TEDx on such a crucial thing as beyond boundaries, if, as was mentioned earlier, you can choose one boundary that has been put in front of you that you say, no, this is not a boundary for me. This is not a boundary that I'm willing to accept. And again, please, before anybody says that I've asked you all to now become lawless lawbreakers and to create trouble for us, that's not my intent. My intent is to go beyond the artificially created horizons and to give yourselves an opportunity, to give yourself a learning experience. And as I said, aim high. Set yourself so many goals, so many achievements, so many areas that you would like to go to, that perhaps in your own lifetime you won't be able to fulfill all of them. But at least you know you have goals. At least you know you have something to aim towards. Don't be satisfied with anything. Don't be satisfied with what you have today. Always seek more, whether it is more in terms of achievement, whether it is more in terms of knowledge, whether it is more in terms of information, and that is what will take us forward. I started with a couplet of Faiz Ahmed Faiz. I'll end with a couplet of Mirza Ghalib, who said, "हजारों ख्वाहिशें ऐसी कि हर ख्वाहिश पे दम निकले, बहुत निकले मेरे अरमान, लेकिन फिर भी कम निकले." Set yourself so many goals that each goal will take you a lifetime. And it doesn't matter how many of them you fulfill. Just knowing that you have goals and that you're working to achieve them, I believe, is exactly what we would expect from you and exactly what you would expect from yourselves. So without taking more of your time and coming between you and all the other distinguished speakers, I would like to thank JK Public School for having me today. I'd like to thank all of you for being a wonderful audience and for bearing with my first TEDx. As you can tell, I haven't done this before. I don't know if I'll do it again, but this is what it is. This is how you break boundaries or you go beyond boundaries, and thank you all very much.